We have a simple series of questions from Peter, and there's some value to these questions, Peter. I think I've answered a lot of them before, but if you're still asking questions, I'm still answering them. He says this: what prerequisites do you have for people before they want to start kettlebell snatch, clean, jerk? Well, let's just put the snatch and jerk together, and let's talk about the clean. The kettlebell clean finishes here, right there. If the person has any kind of shoulder issue, any kind of bicep elbow issue, and they can't put their thumb and this part of the knuckles on their chest and keep that elbow close to the side, I would say that might be something. Number one, with the kettlebell snatch and the jerk family, with the snatch and the single arm jerk, you got to be able to put the bicep on your ear. If you can't get it and hold a position like that, I wouldn't have you do it. To prepare yourself for the kettlebell clean, do rack walks. You put the weight here and then you walk out and back with it. Interesting. Most women do very well with this. Most men struggle. It's one of those interesting little things you pick up the more and more you train. If you want to be able to kettlebell snatch, I really want you to be able to first be able to do a waiter walk, that is holding the load over your head and walking. As you walk, all those different movements kick in, and it will challenge any mobility, flexibility, any broken tissue issues you have, whatever those can be. Broken tissue issue, that's good. And but that is one. Two, can you do a swing? Can you do a hinge? And if you can't do a proper hinge, a proper swing, I don't want you moving up to the clean and snatch yet. The jerk, let's just put the jerk to the side on this particular conversation. But if you can't hinge swing, I don't want you doing those heavier loads or those high rep snatches or whatever you're doing. For the jerk, the test, of course, is can you hold the rack, and can you hold the overhead position, the waiter walk position. Since most of us do double jerks, now this is where the situation comes in as a little bit of a problem. Many of the men I work with have a bad shoulder, and my joke at workshops is, raise your hand if you have a bad shoulder. Ha ha ha. Because see, if you raise your hand, it hurts you. Okay. Ha. I'll wait until you're done laughing. Okay. With the double overhead ballistic work, that would be the push press and the push jerk, I'd like to make sure you're cleared on both sides. That doesn't mean you have to go to a surgeon or even anybody, but I'd like to be able to show me that you can handle the double, like the double kettlebell clean. You can hold that there, maybe do a double kettlebell walk with it. If you can't do a kettlebell snatch, I don't want you doing a kettlebell jerk, especially the double. So it ties us right back into one of the foundational things. Do you have the base to move into ballistic work? I don't like people adding speed to bad movement. I mean, that's the most duh statement I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, of course, but a lot of people do it anyway. His follow-up question to this, he says, do you have an order of learning of the kettlebell movements? Well, yeah, I wrote a book on this called The Hardstyle Kettlebell Challenge. I mean, there are a few things I would change. Nah, they're in there. I would probably add more to it. But first and foremost, I would say, I like you to be able to discern a goblet squat movement from a hinge movement. Now, the problem with the kettlebell swing is it can be very advanced for some people, depending on what's been going on in your life. I'd like you to be able to do a goblet squat. If you can't do goblet squats, we regress back to the Tim Anderson's 6-point rock. Okay, good. With the hinge family, we take you right down to glute bridges, hip thrusts, whatever it takes. That exercise I just did a video on called the Bulgarian goat bag swing. With that goblet squat and the Bulgarian goat bag swing, if you're reading my work, I think I call it the Butt Blaster 5000. It's where you alternate goblet squats with Bulgarian goat bag swings. 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. And it doesn't sound like much, but it's 55 reps of both. And it really, don't put the weight down. It really scorches you. So besides that hinge movement, now that could be the hip thrust, it could be the Bulgarian goat bag swing, and that squat movement, which could be the 6-point rock or whatever, or the goblet squat. I also like you to learn the Turkish get-up fundamentals at the same time. Now, I'm not a member of the religious group that loves the Turkish get-up. I don't think it is, I don't think you need to, I don't know. Sometimes I think we've taken a little bit too far, but the fundamentals of the Turkish get-up are really helpful. And the thing I like best about it, and if you like my work, I have a thing called the Turkish get-down press. When you press at each position as you go down, what I like about that exercise is if we find a place where your shoulder just locks up as immobile, well, that allows us to either stop you there, or that's where we need to get some good hands work. That could be a chiropractor, a PT, a physio, a good masseuse sometimes, or just remedial exercises to help you along on that. And if we find that you're frozen here, maybe you're frozen because of it's just a bad day, or that was an old injury you had, or maybe something that you just need some extra mobility work, and it can sometimes be that simple. After we find that, that's when I like to use the massage gun, the foam roller, and all those kinds of things on those specific issues to loosen up that body part. So yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a solid swing, a solid goblet squat, and a solid Turkish get-up early in your kettlebell career. Obviously, I think the clean is very easy to teach, and I called myself the king of the kettlebell clean for a while. Because I do think a lot of people do avoid it a little bit, but there's some real value with that exercise too. Good questions so far.